Thank you, Nick. Okay, hello everyone. We hope you're well and safe. My name's Julie Burville. I'm the treasurer of Woking Swimming Club, and I am joined today by Ray Zabati, who's the vice chairperson, and Nick Gandy, who's providing our technical support, and Nick is also our webmaster. So thank you to Nick and Ray for joining me also. So today we want to talk to you about returning to swimming. Training will commence at Reeds on Sunday the 26th of July and Woking Pool in the Park on Monday the 3rd of August in the competition pool only. By now you should have received your temporary training schedules, and in order to provide a safe environment as much as possible, we have a number of changes to discuss with you today. So the meeting is intended for parents. You by all means bring your swimmers in, more than welcome, and we will discuss the summer training. Now the meeting is for all of our parent members and our swimmers, so whether you're returning to the summer training or not, because it is thought that these changes will come under the swim guidance, will be here for the foreseeable future, and we will work under the guidelines of Swim England to safeguard against COVID. All right, and we'll also be working with our pool operators, and just to let you know, our pool operators are also working under Swim England, and they will have their own arrangements in place as well, and that's what makes it slightly complicated for us. So the agenda, we're going to go through pre-drop-off, drop-off and check-in, how the sessions will run, the collection. There is some more details on the code of conduct for both swimmers and parents. We're going to talk about COVID liaison officers and chaperones, and we'll give you a look ahead, if you like, for 2020 before we go on to questions. All right, so we will open it up for questions, both verbally and you can also raise your hand if you wish, but we'll take those if you could just bear with us at the end of the session. So starting off then as with our pre-drop-off, so this is before you leave home. The consequences are, if we don't follow these policies, then swimming may be closed down by location. Now, obviously, we don't want any cases of COVID. We want to operate in a very COVID-free environment, and that's why these procedures are in place. So each pool will operate differently, as I mentioned, working with different entry and exit points. So we will be briefing you on each pool as each pool opens up. Now, each pool will also have different swimmers for the different size of pools, for the different number of lanes that we're in. And again, this comes under the Swim England guidance. Now, no changing rooms will be in use for the foreseeable future, and toilets will be limited to emergency use only. So obviously, we don't want uncomfortable swimmers, but swimmers must use the toilet before they leave home. Swimmers must also shower at home and arrive under the term beach ready. Now, some of you would have already heard of that term with regards to returning to swimming. So the beach ready really means wearing loose clothing with your costumes underneath. So it's a case of removing the costume from over the top. Sorry, beg your pardon. Removing the loose clothing and having your costume there ready for you to enter the water. All right. Only one club bag will be allowed, so please bring a waterproof bag. That can be either a carrier bag or a self-seal, preferably a self-seal bag, to keep your top layers, the beach ready wear, dry whilst you're in the water. So with regards to your training kit, now the training kit will be described. We will put more information about what training kit is needed out by squad, but your training kit must be cleaned and disinfected between each session. And of course, it goes without saying about ensuring that it is named. Another important thing to remember to bring with you is 2 hats, 2 goggles, and your coach will not be able to lend you any items. Your water bottles must be filled and named, okay, before you leave home. Now we're asking all swimmers in temporary squads 1 to 6 to wear face masks when they're not in the pool. Now face masks will be discretionary for squads 7 to 10. So we're not saying that that's mandatory, but they are mandatory for squads 1 to 6, and that's really important to us, okay? So moving on to the drop-off and the check-in areas now. Swimmers must arrive in the check-in zone 15 minutes prior to the start of session. Now, if you arrive earlier than that, please stay in your car. If you arrive later than that, please don't miss the slot. We do not want all of the squad turning up at 5 minutes beforehand, because there's a lot of you to check in and the session will not run in time. So 15 minutes sharp is the time that we really need all of the swimmers in the check-in queue. Parents are asked to ensure that their swimmers arrive safely at the check-in point. Parents are also asked to wait with their swimmer until they have cleared the check-in point prior to leaving. So that should say swimmer, by the way, each swimmer is to wait in the check-in zone and will be directed by a COVID liaison officer. Now, there should be 2-meter social distancing rules will apply during that check-in queue. The purpose of the check-in queue is that the COVID liaison officer or the chaperone, whichever it will be, there'll be a person at the door who's responsible for checking you in, and a health assessment will take place. I don't know who's putting arrows on this screen, but can I ask you that? Thank you very much, Nick. Okay, they're not intentional, I can assure you. So a check-in assessment will take place and a radar temperature will be taken. Now, the COVID officer or the chaperone who's taking the assessment and the radar temperature may well have concern as to whether a swimmer is fit, and at that point, if they have any concerns, they will go to the lead coach, and the lead coach decision is final. So your swimmer may be turned away if they do not pass the self-assessment at that point in time, or the temperature gauge. So you know, we will assess it, and we ask that your swimmers are not playing in the playground prior to check-in. Even if it's a sunny day, they will get hot, and that makes that assessment more difficult. And of course, we do have to take strict decision at that point whether you can swim or not. So no playing, keep calm, keep cool. Swimmers will be directed to go poolside and are allocated a poolside place to leave their belongings. Oops, sorry, don't know what happened there, but my screen has just clicked off. Okay, there we go. Swimmers will be able to take their beach ready wear off, put them in a bag, put them inside their kit bag, and that will keep them warm for when they've finished swimming. Viewing will not be permitted for parents in the gallery, so no spectators, I'm afraid. The gallery will be closed for all. Okay, so how will the sessions run? Each swimmer will be assigned a lane, and that's whilst they're in their positions poolside. At the start and the end of the position, the start and the end positions in the water are demonstrated on the next sheet, on the next page. So I'll show you that in a moment.
Jules, sorry, this is Nick.
Hello, Nick.
We've lost the screen share.
Oh,
sorry, that was my fault.
That was your fault. Okay.
That was my fault. Sorry,
well, we don't live in a blame culture here. Let me just try to come back. 2 ticks. Yep. Just trying to find it. There we go. Hopefully we're back. Okay, let me know if you can't see it.
Yep, we're back.
Okay, that's good news. Right, so what I was saying is the start and the end positions of the water, it will be demonstrated on the next page. Okay, so I'll show you that shortly. The coach will direct the swimmers when they should start the set or the length, and every effort must be made by the swimmer to maintain social distancing when stationary. So they may not be starting and ending at that time. You'll see in a moment. I'll explain on the next page, sorry. All swimmers will swim clockwise round every lane. So that's definitely a change from our previous, because every other lane used to be clockwise and then we used to go anti-clockwise. So I'm not sure whether you picked that up or not. But now in this environment, all swimmers will be swimming clockwise around every lane. Swim England guidance is that passing in a lane, if the swimmer's in the water, is absolutely fine. But of course, again, I will come on to that in a minute about where to breathe. And we will be briefing the kids poolside on every session so that they know where they are. So I'm just going to try and get rid of this box up here. So it's because it's in the way. There we go. Okay. So here's a 6-lane pool. And I wouldn't say it's to scale, but you can get the drift. You will have swimmers and stopping points at these points here. So you can see here the clockwise swimming of every lane and how the starting points of swimmers will be. And you will be expected to stop on these positions as well. Okay, and again, we will give guidance to the swimmers as they're on poolside. We'll refresh their memory. So training will look a little different, and I'm still going to get rid of that one. There we go. In the near term, to avoid the need for now explosive or excessive breathing, and to allow a controlled climatization to swimming. Stroke technique efficiency sessions. So that's what will be delivered. Now this is where there is a continuous movement with little time needed for recovery. We'll be focusing on drills and skills, underwater work within 15 meters to improve streamlining and transition phases. The focus will be on low to medium level aerobic exercises. And if you need to pass each other in a lane, you will break into freestyle. So no matter what stroke you're doing, you'll break into freestyle and you will breathe to the opposite side of the swimmer that you're passing. Kick sets. We'll be using flat kick technique with face in the water. And again, more direction will be given during the sets by the coaches. There will be some short speed work that will be introduced over smaller distances or stroke counts, but their training, returning to swimming, is definitely going to be a transition. And you'll see that as we move into the pool time as well. Okay. Sorry, 6. Right, so that was in the water, now at the collection point. So at the end of the session, swimmers will be required to towel dry and dress in loose, warm clothes. So that's that beach ready the beach ready clothes that they arrived in. And what we ask for is no removal of costumes. So you can't wrap a towel around you and take your costume off. I'm sorry for all the boys. You're going to have to towel dry, put your warm clothes on and go home and shower, right? The COVID liaison officer, the chaperone, will escort swimmers to the designated exit point. And at the end of the session, parents must be visible to receive their swimmers at that collection point. So parents must ensure social distancing in the collection area. Goes without saying, that's 2 meters is required at this time. Parents are asked to ensure timely arrival 10 minutes prior to the end of session due to the post-pool preparation of swimmers. So obviously we've got to get, depending on the number in the pool, let's say 25 swimmers out of the water, and we've got to get the next set into the water. And so there is going to be a transition between session changeovers. So we ask parents to be ready to collect their child, as we will be releasing them up to 10 minutes prior to the end of the session. All right, next one. So code of conduct. So this is for the swimmers. So these are the inclusion measures to mitigate the risk of COVID. I apologise for any repetition here, but just to highlight code of conduct for the swimmers. So face masks must be worn when not in the water by all swimmers, squads 1 to 6. The mask must be provided by the swimmer, and what we're saying is a material mask is preferable because paper ones may go soggy poolside. All right, so those need to go in to your waterproof bag when you're not when you're swimming. Parents' discretion for squads 7 to 8. Entry into the pool will be by the instructor, COVID officer, or the chaperone that's on duty at that time. And swimmers must bring their own hand sanitizer to ensure sanitation has taken place prior to joining the check-in queue. At the point where you get through into the swimming, there is likely to be another hand sanitizing facility inside. So we will instruct you if we need you to do that again. Swimmers must ensure 2 metre social distancing requirements at all times, and arrival times 15 minutes prior to the session start, ready for the check-in and pre-pool preparation. Remember, shower at home and be beach ready, and don't forget to use the toilet facilities before you go. Have a comfort break before you leave home. So at home, equipment cleaning is essential between sessions, and we will let you know what the kit is needed before you arrive. Okay, so code of conduct for the parents also here, please. Can we ask all parents to ensure that emergency contact details are up to date in Team Unify, and invoke self-isolation rules and keep swimmers' medical information up to date within Team Unify? So all parents must complete the health questionnaire and consent form. Even if you know, we've got the health assessment that's at the door. What we will require is a full health assessment questionnaire to be completed and the consent form prior to your child swimming. If you haven't got one, please reach out to us. We will get that organised for you. Parents must ensure 2 metre social distancing in the waiting area. Arrival times 15 minutes before the start of the session, ready for check-in, and all parents must wait until the clearance has been given to their swimmer prior to leaving. All parents must observe restrictions surrounding entry to the pool, and they must adhere to the drop-off and collection policies. Now, if you've got any concerns, welfare concerns, will go to this email address here, please. That's wokingscwelfare@gmail.com. And any COVID concerns, we do have wokingsc.covid19@gmail.com. So we do have a dedicated team on both of those. All right. Okay, so that's the rules out of the way. And thank you in advance for adhering to those. So here's the plea. We need COVID liaison officers or chaperones. It sounds quite official, but it is a key role. But these sessions can't run without COVID liaison officers. That's Swim England advice. We're not allowed to hold the sessions without them. So we urgently need volunteers. Now, there is absolutely no experience necessary. Training will be given. The training is not onerous, but we are looking for 2 officers or chaperones per training sessions. Doesn't need to be gender specific. It's going to be done on a rota, and we are expecting all parents with swimmers in the water to make themselves as best available as they can. So what does the role involve? Checking in swimmers, health screening questionnaires, brief health screening questionnaires at the door, and taking attendance records. Liaising with the coach should the chaperone believe that a swimmer has failed the screening. Remember, it will be coach's decision, so you won't have to do the decision making. managing social distancing at the check-in and exit points, and being on poolside during a session to help manage social distancing of swimmers. So this is just being an extra set of eyes and helping swimmers if they're in the wrong place to go to the right place. May need to escort swimmers to the toilet in that emergency usage. You will not be required to go in, obviously. Maintaining an incident log, and then submitting the health screening, the incident log, and the attendance record onto Google Drive at the end of the session. Okay. So before we wrap up, 2020 look ahead. We will see limited external competition during September and October. We are looking how to run our club champs and adapt our training sessions to accommodate. Swim England are going to issue an update on competition in September, so we are expecting to hopefully get something in place with our dasher meet towards the end of the year. It will look different, no doubt. So we are working with Surrey County ASA regarding qualification times for next year's county championships, and indeed what those county championships will look like. We will have fewer swimmers in the water per pool. So training will incorporate new socially distanced approaches, as you've already seen, and that means fewer swimmers in a lane, in a pool. Pool time remains a scarce resource, and not all pools will come back up immediately. However, we really are working very hard with our pool operators to carry out those risk assessments. We've got all of our documentation in place. We are working behind the scenes every opportunity to try to have those pools back in place as soon as possible. We are committed to keeping swimming as accessible as possible, and we're working hard to strike a balance between pool hours, fewer swimmers in each session, and our training fees. So it is a moving situation, as you will have already seen with many other things that's happening in our economy right now. So without further ado, we will go on to questions. You can ask Ray, myself, Nick any questions. Do feel free to chip in with any thoughts. What I have done here is given you some contact details as well. So coaching emails, coaching inquiries, email your coach. See our website under the coaches section for their individual email addresses. Welfare officer, we've given you that twice in this one, as well as the COVID-19 inquiries. General inquiries, of course, can come through the committee email. So thank you for listening for me. Any questions that you would like to take at this time?
Yeah, hello. I've got just a question about chaperoning, being the chaperone.
Yes.
If you've got two kids and they swim at different times, does the other kids will they be allowed to be on the pool side? Because that would be my issue with the chaperoning, because both of us are never available at the same time to take the other kid home. So what about
that's a really good question, and it's a no. So we will. We obviously do appreciate that some of you are going to find that more challenging than others. We definitely ask everyone to try and take their turn at least once, but we will have those that will be able to offer up their services more readily than others. So we do appreciate that. The pools at the moment are very strict on how many we can have poolside. And so that's our challenge. We obviously need coaches poolside, and we need COVID officers poolside, and we are pretty much limited to that.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi, it's Team McLeod, the bronze rep. If anyone's thinking of volunteering, how should they go about doing that? Is that being coordinated by the reps or by the club?
So Tina, we're working through that at the moment, because obviously we've just put these temporary squads in place. So we will be in contact with you. I would say email your squad rep at the moment. Sorry, was someone trying to speak there? Email your squad rep at the moment with, if you're a volunteer, and then we will work with our squad reps to pull that information together and move forward.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm the bronze rep, so that's what I was just wondering, whether everything was coming through us or independently. But yeah, no problem. I'll look out for some communication this week then.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tina. Really appreciate you being there as well. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Hi, this is Helen Bryant. I've sent a couple of messages via chat. I don't know if they appeared, but firstly, thank you to everybody involved in this. It's very much appreciated. My questions are regarding the bags that they bring, or the dry bag they bring. Do they also bring a kit bag, like the net bag as well, or is it just one bag?
It'll just be one bag. So if they bring their kit bag and inside it they've got, I don't know, let's just say their kickboard, and that is the required kit, then they will, obviously their kit bag, their equipment will be dry at that point, so it can go inside. So what we're going to do is pull the kickboard out and their equipment, and they will put their dry clothes in a plastic bag in the bag. So there is only one bag on poolside, and they will take minimum essential equipment with them, and they will be instructed where to put that.
Great, thank you. And I did have another question, which was just, there's obviously a lot of work gone into determining the squads. I'm actually here for my older swimmer as well. Just wondering how those the squads have been pulled together, the temporary squads, that is.
Good question. So some of it was done on age. I'll be honest, we literally looked at the original squads and cascaded it down in terms of sort of like top down, because obviously we're limited on we had to move away from the squad structure because of the numbers in each pool. So for example, pool in the park, we can have 30 swimmers, but Reeds we can only have 25. And so during the summer, the training, we've literally gone through and allocated. So I wouldn't read anything into the squad itself, because it's been done on a cascading line, if you like. Obviously all of those swimmers will be similar ability, but we are using up as much to get the most out of the pool capacity. Obviously 30 is a lot lower than what we had pre-COVID in that pool in the park. So it is about getting those 30 swimmers and getting as many people swimming and returning to swimming as possible.
Great, thanks
so
very much.
Does that answer that, Helen?
It does. I will go and read. That's fine.
All right, lovely.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Doug McLeod, I wanted to know, I take it a copy of this PowerPoint will be posted so we can refer, because that's quite a lot of information to remember.
You're right, Doug. Yeah, absolutely. We'll send that around. We're doing a recording as well for those that missed it. But there is a lot of information here, and there will be for the swimmers as well. So at every point, at every check-in point, and every pass-through point, we will be reminding the swimmers. And of course, some of the swimmers, not all, have already returned to school. And you know, feedback is from the schools that the kids take to this very, very well. So we're hoping the same refers to in swimming.
Thank you.
I think
Thanks,
a lot
Doug.
of information, I've seen it all in the policies area in Team Unify. So a lot of this is in the parent policies and the Swimmers Code of Conduct. So, and not the slides per se, but a lot of the info's there anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick's been putting it over there over the last few days. And of course, that will remain fluid as well as more pools come on board. As we return in September to what we fondly refer to as our autumn term.
Julie, the health questionnaire and consent form, is that available on the website somewhere?
I might need to throw you over to Nick or Ray, because I'm not sure.
It's part of the journey. So the health questionnaire is done through Google Docs, and we can organise for it to be resent to you if you just drop me an email.
Okay.
The consent forms are part of the Team Unify journey. So there was I think last Thursday or Friday, we sent the links out to everyone, and through Team Unify you can do the consent, the relevant consents.
Thank you.
But the questionnaire is Google Docs, and just drop me a line and I'll have them send the link again.
Thank you.
And I guess the other thing there, Ray, is that we will also be checking from our end if we've got everybody. So we'll be reaching out to you. But certainly, if you're concerned that you haven't either done the consent form or the questionnaire for the return to swimming, for the summer swimming, then reach out immediately to us. Those that aren't returning to swimming just yet, maybe they're away or returning in September, then appreciate you might not have had those yet. Any others? Any other questions on the Q&A, Nick?
Did we miss anything on the chat?
The chat that I can see doesn't seem to have any questions. I think I'm missing
Might
it.
have been sent to Jules directly. So
Hang on a
Oh,
sec.
okay.
Let me have a look then. Let me have a look, because I've got a more here. I've got a participants.
there's a question from Beth Richardson, and it's have the squad lists been sent out? And the answer is yes, they have. Beth, and you should have received an email in the day. Admittedly, there's a few. There are a few. There are a few emails that came out today. So if you can just check again that you've picked it up, there's an attached. Yes, yes, Beth. It was attached to the email you would have received. There was a complete list of the other swimmers in the squad and the schedules. So if you haven't got it, please drop me a line. Francesca has asked, do we need to report to a coach if we can't attend? Look, normally, so it's expected as normal practice to report to the coach if you can't be there. So if you can drop them an email, then that's always welcome. But just to be clear, if you're late, right? If you're late, then it'll be at the coach's discretion whether or not you're admitted to the pool late. Okay, I've covered that one. This one from the D. Oliveras. Will the September timetable be reviewed? The answer is we're not expecting it to be. So there's one for week 1, and then the remaining weeks 2 to 5 will be as published.
So Ray, the September.
Oh, sorry, September
timetable will be reviewed. Yes, as we have more pools coming on board.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Sorry.
Oh, good. I didn't read it properly. So yes, it will be reviewed. You will get. Well, we hope to finalise it as soon as we can. Yep. And then if you're on holidays, that's perfectly fine. I'm on holidays next week, so my swimmer's not swimming. So no problem there. And what is the start date? So the start date, swimming begins on Sunday, the 26th. So this coming Sunday.
But not for everyone.
Not for everyone.
So there is a schedule. There is a week 1 schedule. I think the week 1 schedule went out with the email.
It
Correct
did.
me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it did. Okay.
Yeah, so you should have gotten on the email you received today. You would have gotten the squad list. You would have received the week 1 schedule and also the weeks 2 to 5 schedule. And We don't have squad 2 in this one, do we? So it's all right.
No, no.
Because there was a typo in that one that went out. Yeah.
Hi, it's Carla Redding here. I'm just asking, are the coaches going to be the same as what they were for the squads, just in terms of letting coaches know if we can't attend?
Oh, that's a good question, Carla, because they may not be, because you might have more than one squad in a temporary squad, or vice versa. The cutovers, because of the number of swimmers, may have changed. So we will. I'm just trying to think how's this going to work, because they may change because we've got a few coaches on holiday as well. So. Mm-hmm. Can I get back to you on that one?
Of course,
because I think it's fair to say you can email your existing lead coach, all right, okay. And they'll make sure the message is yeah, let's do it that way, because I wasn't expecting that question. Email your existing coach. They will make sure that the coach who's on duty when you're away, or whatever question you have, will get answered and get forwarded. They're talking all the time right now, as you can imagine.
Excellent, thank you. And just to reiterate, thank you for everything you're doing. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Carla.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a few more questions have come up. One from Jane Knight, and that was, if a swimmer tests positive for COVID-19, what is the protocol? So there's quite detailed processes on it, but safe to say they all follow the track and trace approach. So you need to advise us, and you can advise us on the main email. And then we have procedures that will do all the rest. So your main responsibility is to advise us. And because we take role, if you like, attendance for every session, we will then seek government advice on what to do next. And we've got that all written up in both our procedures and our risk assessments. I hope that answers the question, Jane. Okay, I will move to the next question. There's another question here from the De Oliveira family. Car sharing. So it is, how the swimmers get to the pool is outside of our remit. And what we would generally advise is that you adopt whatever the government advice is with regards to car sharing. And yeah, there's copious amounts on this topic available on the gov.uk website. I think that's it. There's any more questions? These have been good questions, I have to admit.
They've been excellent questions, and we will definitely share them, and we'll have a look at the other questions coming through the other meetings that are taking place tonight as well.
Yeah. I don't think I've missed any. Oh, there's one more new message. Okay. Okay. So this is a follow-up to the a swimmer test positive for COVID. The short answer is it'll be up to the track and trace procedures that follow the advice that a swimmer is tested positive, and that there's far too much detail to go into on this call. But in a nutshell, there's the NHS track and trace approach will be followed. So if you get a call, then you would be advised. Or if you've been contacted by them, then you'll have to follow their instructions
and notify us accordingly.
Yeah. Very good. Any more questions? So, Jules, if you don't mind me just saying, I think that the pack's a good primer for everything that you need to know. The website, as Helen Bryant mentioned earlier, has all the detailed information there, and the specifics on the codes of conduct that apply to both the swimmers and to parents, because of what's required in terms of the pool operators and Swimming England guidance. So it's all there. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us on the emails on the last page of the deck, and that can happen anytime you like. Quite a number of people get the forwarded on emails for these email addresses, and we'll do our best to answer you quickly. And we look forward to as many volunteers as we can for the chaperone roles, because frankly we can't run them without you, and so any help you can give in the rota will be very much appreciated. When will fees be posted? Oh, good one. This is definitely for you, Jules.
As soon as I've worked out, so we did have a slight change to the schedule, which has now been published, so certainly within the next week. All right, go ahead, start swimming, but I'm going to ask you all for prompt payment. Obviously we haven't been invoicing anyone for a few months yet, and we've got some bills to pay, so I'm going to be asking prompt payment when we do, and they will be posted to your account certainly within the next week. Lovely question.
We had the right person here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it doesn't sound like we have any more questions. No. Yeah, Jules, anything to wrap up?
Only just have a lovely time getting back into the water, and let's do it in a very safe, let's really take these rules seriously, because we want our facilities to open. The kids need to be back in the water swimming and training, and just enjoy it. It'll be lovely to see them back.
Yes, indeed.